Alright, so if you watched my last video and you followed it and you actually listened to it, chances are you're beginning to reframe out of that negative situation. You're starting to do a little better, right? But it, you're not, you're starting to realize that you're not nearly where you want to be, okay? Because that's what happens when you start climbing the mountain. You look at the top, you're like, oh shit, there's another mountain over there. Or you look up and you're like, oh shit, well now I got to take more and more steps. So you figured out how to get out of the bad spot, but how do you start going towards the top? And that's what I want to talk about today. Reframing is not a tool to get you to the top, even though it helps you. It's a tool to prevent you from sinking any further down. It's to get your feet planted into loose gravel when you have no other options, right? So now, how do we start taking advantage of this foothold we're developing, this positive momentum, and how do we start climbing the mountain? Well, I'd assume that you probably brought a map with you before you started climbing this mountain, right? See, no one goes on a voyage without a map. No one drives somewhere without knowing where they're going or having a GPS there. So that's kind of what visualization about. This is not wishy-washy law of attraction techniques, manifest $1,000,000. This is not what this is about. This is how do I get to the next step? So I was actually at an MLM the other day, an MLM meeting. It was kind of, a solar MLM type deal, and they were teaching us what are the most powerful things that you can do in order to become a better door-to-door salesman. Okay. And the thing that he recommended the most was visualization. And then this dude goes on to burn an $100 bill talking about how every time that you're not achieving your best self and investing into stuff right now, you're wasting money in the future, which I thought was incredibly dumb to burn an $100 bill, but he had a point. And I wanted to go deeper into visualization. So what is the purpose of visualization? Okay, we've heard the whole secret, manifest your future, and you can become a millionaire if you really believe it, but I think we all know that it's a bit more complicated than that. So visualization is a tool to realize the greatest traits about yourself and all the possible versions of yourself that you can actualize, and to mentally and emotionally align with one so that you can lay down the groundwork into getting there. Think of yourself as marble. Okay, you are marble, and inside of yourself lies so many different variations of how we could carve this marble in the statue that you will begin to take, right? The statue of David lies inside of you. You are the marble, but you are also the sculptor. So while it is your purpose to live this life, you also have to lead it through carving in the marble. But how does an artist carve into marble without knowing what he's going to carve first? Will his hands magically lead him there, or must he use his intuition to guide himself? Well, chances are he's going to have to think about it, unless it's a 1 in a billion chance, but, it's not optimal to rely on chances, right? So what you want to do is, once you've reframed everything, you've learned the 3 R's, you've started gaining some stability in your life. Now you want to start thinking about, who am I? What are the things I love? What are the things I'm good at? Imagine the greatest possible you, the highest version of yourself, because in multiple religions, across multiple religions, there's multiple concepts of this: purpose, divine duty, dharma. And what are all those things? It's the idea that your essence was created with a higher intention of the greatest amount of harmony and service and fulfillment that you could simultaneously provide to society and yourself in the purest way, and that would be considered your highest self, your best self, the version of you that is doing the best things in life. And this is where manifestation, I start to disagree with it, because in manifestation it says if you just think about $10 billion you can have it, but in order to have $10 billion, then a lot of people don't have to have $10 billion. So it's inherently selfish to manifest under those reasons, to actualize under those reasons, to visualize for those reasons. But if you're trying to visualize your purpose, your dharma, well, then you'll start to see it and you can align yourself with it. And this is where my version's a little bit different, or where I think you should differ. Thinking about something solely will not get you there, but visualizing it will give you a direction to point towards. You use it as a compass. Visualization is a compass. And then once you have the direction that you want to go, then you use your logic, your able-bodiedness, and strength to start making the decisions to get there and building the systems. So it's not visualization alone that's going to make you $1 million, which honestly, that's a very surface level use. And I mean, unless you know your family really needs the money, right? It's a very surface level use of what this is. This could be actualization of your greatest skills. You know, maybe deep down you have an acclamation for music, for acting, for helping people, for understanding human minds, for putting together data in ways other people can't. Okay, that's what Dharma implies, that somewhere along all the things that could be, you have this purpose, right? And the only way you can get there is by knowing what that is and then knowing how to get there. But knowing where it is, knowing how to get there, are not the two the same things, and that's where people get confused. So you visualize to see the compass. Now you have to build the systems. Okay, so this is unique to the situation that you want. So as an example, let's say you wanted to become a big, strong bodybuilder, right? You know, within your genetic frame. Then that's the goal, right? But the systems that are going to get you there are, you know, going to the gym for 2 hours a day, using proven strength training techniques, going to failure, eating protein powder, getting 220 grams of protein a day, right? Doing that systematically every day, having fail-safe systems to keep you on track, having meal plans, meal prep, and then eventually you get there. But you couldn't have gotten there without realizing that you wanted to be a big bodybuilder, right? So now that you figured out how to get out of a shitty situation, now you got to figure out where you want to go and start heading there and building the systems. And some people will say, why do you want to do this? Why not live life as it is, accept the mundanes and accept, you know, the day-to-day? And you can choose to do that, but if you click this video, I'm assuming that you probably want to do something more, or probably unsatisfied with doing the day-to-day. So if you want to do a little more, you got to set a target. Visualize, set a target. And then as you set the target, you should naturally begin figuring out how to uncover the path with your own logic. So yeah. Oh, and I forgot the most important reason. Why do we do all this shit, right? Because if you're going to do all this shit, you got to have a good why. I mean, that's part of the 3 R's. Remembering your purpose. So the reason you do all this stuff is because you are finite. You are running out of time. You only have this one life, as far as you know. And once you die, it's gone. Once you're 60, you're stuck with the decisions you made now. And the decisions you make now are the biggest decisions of your life because they compound for the rest of your life. So you got to make really good decisions right now, right? So that's why you're running out of time. So fucking start visualizing. All right.